Okay, let's start. So today the plan is to complete longest consecutive sequence. We'll stick to one for today. I kind of missed the last 2 days. It was Mother's Day weekend and we had our birthday here, so it was good. It was a good weekend. But we're back and we're gonna start off slow. I think we still have 2 more. I did not complete the Sudoku one because even after looking at the solution, I didn't quite understand it. So I wanted to walk through it in more detail. So at some point I'm gonna make a stream going through the Sudoku one to try to really understand it. But we'll complete this one today, or we'll try, and then we'll say that the arrays and hash tables section is complete. And we'll mark the Sudoku one as one to come back to, but I would say we should be able to move through to the other sections once we finish this one. I think this section has a total of, let's see, look, how many questions? 9. We just leave one out. I think we're fine. I think it's a really important one just because we're using like, it involves 2D vectors. And then like subsections of the grid. So I don't want to just solve it. I wouldn't even consider looking at the solution and pasting it, solving it. I'd just say that's copy and pasting. Oh, I wouldn't want to just do that if I don't understand it. Okay. We should start with whiteboarding. And then move towards the solution, coding the solution. But first, we should probably read what the question is. So I think the music turned off. Let me look at it. I think the song's just changing. No, it's just really quiet. Let's read the question. I think we did something similar to this, did we not? Is there one just called longest subsequence? Is it in stacks? Yeah, maybe we didn't. Let's see. It's okay. I feel like I've read this somewhere. See the example. They return the length of the longest consecutive sequence of elements that can be formed. Okay, for this example, zoom in. There should be 4 numbers. Two, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It has 7. Okay, what are the topics? Union find. Okay. And complexity O of n. The hint. Should we look at the hint? No, I think we should. We should just take one of these examples. Especially this one, where they're not one after another. Like, there's a 20 after the 2. So we had to jump 1. Get to the next one. Oh wait, I'm already okay. I can already imagine what the brute force solution is. Let's whiteboard this because because I haven't done any problems for the past 2 days, I'm really eager to solve one. I think I know what the brute force solution is. So do some whiteboarding. The music's kind of low, but someone's gonna have to tell me because I can't really hear it. Let's see. Am I showing the whiteboard? I'm not showing anything. Okay, I know what it is. Fix this real quick. Should be up. Perfect. Okay, it looks like I've written some stuff before. I'm not gonna get into the solution. This is good. Is it worth reading the notes? Also, I think this is just a copy and paste of the problem. Wow, when did I make this? Should have timestamped it. I'm gonna draw it up here. Perfect. Make sure the pencil's working. Okay, so okay, I think I know what the brute force solution is. Wait, no, I don't. I was thinking if we sort it, it would work, but that would take off our indexes, which would not make sense in this scenario. What's a way to do this? We can do this. Start a pointer there. That was huge. Start a pointer there. Sliding window, maybe. Okay. Start with 2. And we can move our right pointer. No. I mean, the count will be 2 in this instance, and then once we move it up by 1, we would be back to 0. Oh, we would stay in 2, sorry. We stay at 2. Now we found 2 instances that maintains the increasing order. Wait, does it have to be just 1 greater? Is that what the... We might be able to rearrange the numbers. So you're given an integer nums, return the length of the longest consecutive sequence of elements that can be formed. Interesting, so the indexes don't matter. So we can revert back to the idea of sorting. Okay, so I'll go into a little bit of detail of what I mean by that and how sorting can solve this problem. Okay, so we sort this array. What does it look like? Am I missing something? Oh, wait, we're missing. Even better, we can sort it into a map. For a set, since we don't really care about values here. We can place 2, doesn't exist in the table. Oh, nice. Place 2. We can place 3. 4 has a duplicate, so we could skip that. We could skip the duplicate. Then we have 5. Then we have 10 and 20. I think that's all of them. And contains a dupe. Perfect. So once we have oh wait, I should also emphasize that these are all sorted. So I think this makes it slower. I think it might make it n log n, sorting the array. We can have it sorted. Can we sort without duplicates? Meaning, can we sort the array and remove the duplicates in it? Because if we sort this nums, we will get this. So we would have these duplicates for you know what? We can do without the table actually. I just thought about a way to ignore the duplicates. But we'll sort it first. I think that still takes log n or n log n. I'd have to look. Take a look. Let's see. Do a Google search. Yeah, it takes n log n. I gotta look at my time complexity table, which is lower than n, which is the goal. Okay. My question would then be, what does it take to sort a unordered set? Is it called an ordered set? There's some sorting algorithms, I just can't recall. Wait, okay, let's go back to the whiteboard. I think I understand why the table doesn't require us to sort it. We don't need sorting, is what I'm trying to say. So let's scrap the sorting idea. We'll just draw a big X here. Or to make it really big. Yeah, this is fine, and then we'll just write like don't sort. Okay. New approach. We take advantage of the constant time it takes to look up a key. So what we can do, we can dump all of these values. Should have copied them before I blocked them, but okay. We can iterate through nums and then place them into our set. Perfect. Then we can use our O1 lookup to start at 0, of course. We'll start a value at 0. Let's call it current. Then we look in our table. Oh, I should also have another variable. We'll call that length. Yeah, we'll call it length, which will represent the longest consecutive sequence. So let's say this one is variable length. Okay. So if our table does not contain current, then length remains at 0. And current will always increment by 1. So kind of walk through this. So we check this. I'm gonna call it map. Does map contain the number 0? It does not, so we can do +1. And then, yeah, we'll just do +1. And then we check, does our map contain the number 1? It does not. So we increment and get to 2. We do the same, and we do have 2 in the map. We can increment length. Then we'll increment current by 1. We get to 3. I should also add another variable actually. this third variable is our max. We'll put a max L going to be equal to, for starters, going to be equal to 0. Since our length can be negative. Anyways, the reason we want max length, or max L in this case, is because length might reset to 0 once we go to a value in current that does not exist in the map. In that scenario, length will be set to 0, but before we set it to 0, we want to check if the current length is greater than our max. And if it is, we'll update length with that value, then set length to 0. Okay, anyways, so we check for 3. 3 is here in our map, so we can increment length by 1. At this point, length is 2. And we could increment current by 1. You get to 4. That is in our map. Give me 1 second. So 4 is in our map. And we can increment length by 1. Then we go back to current, increment by 1. That is also here in our map. So now length is 4. Current becomes 6. It's not in our map. So then there will be a conditional statement that will check if length is greater than max L. In our case it is, then this gets updated to 4. It gets updated to 4. This becomes 0. And current stays at that number. Current then gets incremented by 1 to 7. This will go on with length not changing from 0 up until we get to 10. 10th will be in our map. So then we could say length is equal to 1. Or we'll do length plus 1. Then we'll increment current by 1. We get to 11. Not in the map. Before we set length to 0, we compare it to max L. In our case, max L is still greater. And so we can safely turn this length to 0. And then we can continue to increment current . Okay, there is a question which is when do we stop? When do we stop incrementing current? How do we know we've reached maxed out? So this is a good question. One thing we know about this is that they contain some of the numbers we like. And some of the numbers we don't like, unfortunately, are in there too. All of these, and all of these. Another issue is it would be hard to compare the sum of these to the length of the nums array because of duplicates. Essentially, our maps removes the duplicates. We can be off by who knows how many duplicates unless we track them. Okay, so how do we stop counting current? Okay, let's hold off on this. I think that's the big hurdle in this current implementation, which is knowing when to stop. These red boxes tracks the actual values in the nums array. These red the numbers in the red box track all of these values here. The only issue is duplicates are not counted here. Just imagine this is super long with a bunch of duplicates. Let's just say the remaining. Let's say this is like length 20. So they're all 4s. If we look at our map, only 1 4. And if we count how many values are in this box, or just the red boxes, we will be off in our count because of duplicate. I'm wondering if we use a map. So this is an unordered set, what I was thinking about. If we use a map, we can store as values how many duplicates exist. So they could be defaulted to 0. Actually, we could just set them to 1. This should not be here. And then with this values, what these values help us with is we can have another variable. We'll call it, for now, we'll just call it num size. And then we'll have, actually that's not a good name. We'll call it array size. Array size. And then I'll just store num size here. This one has 7, right? Okay. So this is how the values help us track the size, which will help us know when to stop. We can do this approach where we're incrementing by 1. If it's in the table, right? So for example, oh, this should not, 1 is not there, and neither is 0. So should not have circled those. You take these off for now, kind of get the idea. Okay. So what we can do is we'll run the algorithm, incrementing by 1. 0 is not on the map, 1's not in the map, 2 is in the map, right? So because 2 is in the map, we want to increment length. But what we also want to do is we want to grab array size. So how many of those values are in the array? Essentially, once array size equals num size, we know that we've looked at all of the numbers. We could essentially stop incrementing by 1. And let's see if this is valid though. We can kind of just count. We can go through the process. It's all written down already. And we'll just see if array size does eventually equal to num size. Let's see. So 0 is not in the map. Length stays 0. 1 is not in the map. 2 is in the map. So we go to 2, we grab its value, and we say array size is going to equal to, it should probably be 0. So we'll do array size plus equals map at key. So it'd be 1. Then we can go to the next value. Oh wait, before we go to the next value, we will increment length. And we can continue incrementing current. So then we get to 3. 3 is in the map. So we proceed with array size. So this would turn from 1 to 2, because we're doing 1 plus the value at 3. We increment length, which becomes 2. Then we check 4 in the map. 4 has 2, so the array size becomes 4. We increment length, and we get to 3. Then we can increment current. That's also on the map. This becomes 5. And then if we look at the original nums array, we have covered 2, 3, 4, 5. We're only 2 away. I just update this. So at 5, the length is 4. And we can increment current again. We get to 6. 6 is not in the map. So before we turn length to 0, we compare the current length value to max L, which is 0. And we set max L to length. Then we could set length to 0, increment current by 1, which would put us at 7. 7 is also not in the map, so length stays at 0, and and we can continue to increment current until we get to 10. So we'll do the comparisons will still be the same, but nothing really happens with length or max L or size, array size. Nothing's happening to them. The reason nothing's happening to them is because they're not in the map. And if they're not in the map, they're not in the original nums array. Eventually we get to 10. 10 is in the map. Here it is. We can increment array size by whatever it was previously, which is 1, plus the value of the key 10, which is 1. So this increments to 6. Then we increment length by 1. That's here. Then we can increment current by 1 to 11. 11 is not in the map. So length becomes 0. Well, before it becomes 0, we want to compare length to max L. And in this case, max L is still greater. So we just turn length to 0. We do nothing with max L. And we go down, continue to increment by 1. Nothing happens to L, nothing happens to max L or length. And eventually we'll get to 20 because that one's in the map. We can increment array size by whatever it was previously, plus the value at E20. This turns to 7. Okay, and then with 7, it's in the map. We increment length to 1. We can increment current by 1 to 21. 21's not in the map. We compare length, max L. Max L is still greater, so then length just becomes 0. And actually, before this, I just realized, before we can even increment current, we had to do something important, which is every time we increment array size, we should be directly comparing it to num size. We'll grab this. Duplicate. This is like very important. So if these are ever equal, then we can stop. And stop this whole algorithm. Okay, so we compare them after we do the increment. So we'll increment, then compare. If array size is smaller than num size, then we can continue with this algorithm. Okay, I think this solves the sorting part, which might be the brute force way. I think all that's left is coding it, which has quite a few conditional statements, but I'm trying to code it, so. Now keep this open, just so I can see it, but don't sort. No need to sort. I could walk through on how to solve this by sorting it, but only if someone's interested. And also the problem is longest consecutive sequence. I think it's I wrote it on here, number 128 on Leetcode. Okay, I'm gonna open up the code editor and then we'll do some of it. See if we could implement the whiteboarding. Okay, so we are going to use a map. So I think it's an unsorted map. And we'll just call this we can call it a copy. Of nums. Perfect. What else will we need? So we need a couple different variables. But first, we should just fill the map. So we'll do okay, what is the condition? If there's a duplicate, we want to increment this value by 1. And if the value is not in the map, we want to set its value to 1. So we'll start with the condition that it doesn't exist in the map. Can I just turn off autocomplete? Yeah, it's just horrible. I don't like it. We can do if map.contains Okay, so if the number is not in the map, we can do copy of nums we can put the number as the key. We'll set its value equal to 1. And then otherwise, it is in the map, and we want to override its value. To be incremented by 1. Wait. Yes. You just want to increment the value by 1, since we have seen another copy at this point. Okay, I think this, and you know what? We will open code editor. We'll do some neovimming to make sure that our for loops work and stuff like that. I started doing this like last stream, I think, where I code the solution and then compile it on my terminal just to validate that I'm looping correctly. It takes more work, but it makes me feel like that I understand it. So I'm just gonna continue to do it until I get tired of it. If I could find the folder, give me 1 second. I'm just making the file first. Isn't there like a subsequence problem? Oh, it sounds so similar to this. Okay. I'm just gonna take this. This is huge. I think I just have to include. I have to include vector. What is that one thing? It's like using or something. I can't remember. Is it using? Is it using namespace or something? I can't remember. Using. And I also want to do. I want to take this out of here. I don't want it in main. Wait, is it not map, including map? Let's look it up. Okay, it is including map. Is it not called unsorted? Unsorted map. Unordered. Mistake. Oh, that should have been telling, right? The fact that it was not blue. Did I do this over there too? It's not map, it's copy. I think I have to do find or something. I'm confused. Oh, it's only in C++20. That's why I can't use it. Okay, finds element with a specific key. So we'll just use find. I just realized my text was super small. I don't think this stream can see that. Let's look at the documentation. Defined. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be back. Okay, let's see where we left off. What does find return? So if the element doesn't exist past end, so do we just say as long as it's not equal to end, I believe? Wait, sorry. It's if it is equal to end, meaning it's not in the map. Actually, I'm gonna have it return the map just to validate that we're getting the right thing. I don't know what I did. Why does it say K right there? How do we change theme? How do we change the theme of this? That theme was horrible. I had to change it. I just want to verify right now that we're filling the copies. Sorry, I just want to verify that copy of nums, which is a map, and that it's being correctly filled with the correct keys and the correct values. Because if it's not, then this won't work. Can we use toString with a map? Yeah, I think we just have to iterate through them. Wait, how do you print keys from a map? Oh, nice. I forgot. I just put value, but I forgot to actually print the value. I should probably add a new line. Okay, so it worked fine. So as expected, the duplicate has 2. Cool. Okay, so this works. We can move on to the next part. Which is we have to create. How many variables is it? 5? We're gonna need a size. And this tracks. Yeah, so it stops when it tracks when we stop incrementing current. That's the whole reason why we are keeping track of the size. We'll have current. We'll set that to 0. Wait, does it have negative values here? Oh, it does. Okay, I didn't account for that. How can we... Okay, let's start at 0 and then we'll... How can we account for it? I have an idea. We are already iterating through nums. We can find the lowest value and start from there. How do you do a really big number? In the whiteboarding section, we started at 0. We started current at 0. But one of the constraints is that we can have negative values. So we would probably want to set current to the lowest value in nums and then increment by 1 starting from there. Okay, we need one more thing. Actually, 2 more things. We're just going to call it running count. And set that to 0. And then this one is max count. Also equals 0. And we'll use a while loop that says while array size less than num size. Let me see. I'm looking at the whiteboard right here to see what part of the algorithm should go first. We probably we'll probably want to check if current is in the map. Very likely that it will be in the map because lowest value is an existing value in nums. It'd be kind of crazy for it to not be there. So we can say if current, oh wait, copy of nums is what the map name is. So we can do contains. Contains current. I'm using version 17 on the terminal. That's why we have to use find. But on this one, we can use contains. So if the map contains this value, what do we want to do first? I got distracted for a second. Yeah, if current is in the map, we want to increment size. We want to say array size and equal to itself plus whatever the value is for that key. How do we grab the value from a map? Be on here. This is min browser right here. That didn't make sense to me. Interesting. Okay, so we'll increment array size. Then we'll check if array size equal to num size then we can return max L. So this condition essentially says we've looked at all the numbers in nums and we've determined that max L is the longest sequence. So we can return at that point. But there's a caveat, which is in the case that they are not equal, we want to do the rest of the algorithm, which is increment length by 1 or running count by 1 and we'll increment current by 1. That's the case in which current is a valid key in the map. Okay, now the else statement, which says if current is not in the map, we want to update max L or max count, what we have as the variable. We want to say so if running count is greater than max count, then max count becomes running count. And we can set running count to 0. Also, if current's not in the map, we can just increment current by 1. Yeah, we could increment it by 1. We check the condition that running count is greater than max. If that's true, we set max to running count, and then we set running count to 0. Okay, we've already updated current by 1. Okay, wait, and if running count is not greater than max count, we do nothing. Okay, this works fine. Before we run it here, I'm going to run it in the terminal. I have some typos here. Right, we can't use contains. What's wrong with max L? Oh, it's not maxed L. We have to change this to an int. Is it an infinite loop? I think it is. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where I went wrong. I think this is why I wanted a debugger last time. I think I fixed that issue here though. Why did it do 0 for this one? I have an idea. Oh, I deleted the other code. We should take this one though. No? Actually, it's not an int. It'd be a vector. Where'd it go? Wait, I should have two. I have an idea. I'm gonna call the nums to map. Okay, I think I just want to comment this part out. How do I comment it out? Leetcode format. I swear I had some shortcut for this. I swear I had a thing. Okay, that's right. I'm not calling that one, so it doesn't really matter. I return a value. Right. Probably return try this again. Okay, what did Leetcode print out? It printed out 0. I'm a bit distracted here. Why did it print 0, not 7? You've never update max? Okay, I think I might open VS Code to debug this. I think they have a debugger. Gotta close some project. Okay. Where is the debugger for this? I really want to finish this question. I feel like I'm almost there. I could figure out how to run this thing. How do you run C++ on VS Code? Let's see. Can I not do this? On a debugger? Start debugging? Great. Let me set a breakpoint here. Start debugging. Install an extension, I guess. What extension? Does this one work? Okay, it's installed. Now what? Okay, we can abort that. This is horrible. We're debugging. Debug anyways? Does that matter? Does it let me do that? I hate this. I'm so confused. Isn't that just a warning though? Try it again now. Task. Okay, let's try the debugger again. Debugger. Is it this one? It's not that one. Okay. Let's share the screen. Sorry about that. I was trying to figure out how to run this thing. Okay, so it says we printed 0, meaning that max count, something's wrong with max count. It starts at 0, but why is it never updated? Wait a minute. Yeah, let's see. So okay, wait, I have to stop this. a weird sound. What is that? Okay, wait, I shouldn't do this one. I think this was fine. Did it have all the values? One. See, actually, I have the values here. So 1, here's twice. 0. Wait, 0's not added to the values. Why? I just realized that. Where is 0? Where is 0? What about the other ones? Let's see, 6. 6 is in there. 4. Yeah, 5. 2. 3. Okay, why is 0 not being added? I just realized that. So maybe we debug this first. To figure out why 0 is not being added. I commented this wrong thing out. Yeah, and then we're gonna put a breakpoint here. Run the debugger. How do you step into? Step over, no, step into. I want to see copy of nums. Okay, the value 0 in nums is the first value in the array. So we should see that be the first thing copied to copy of nums. Let's skip over this, or step over. Step over? What does it want me to do? I don't want to add a breakpoint. Step in? Turn on. I have to stop it or something? What's going on with this? Try it again. Okay, step into, step over, step over. Step out. I like how it doesn't it doesn't want to work right here. What's going on? Okay, wait, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be right back. My camera died. So we'll go with this. I think it's fine. The debugger doesn't work. Find it kind of weird. If I step over, you see it has 1. Where's 0? Wait, 0's the last one. Wait, let's keep going. Last I recall did not print 0. It's missing something. No, it's not. Sorry. It has duplicates. What is going on though? I don't know what's being printed. I have no idea what are these. I'm going to stop this. Run without debugging. Wait, why did it not have that? Okay, now the value is there. What's going on? Okay, that's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is why does it print 0 now? Where'd it go? It's like an infinite loop, I think. I think it's just printing default. The weird thing is that I pass this other case. Wait, it's not gonna print anything. Okay, let's use this built-in AI. Let's see what it says. Listen, no, I think it's an infinite loop. I'm wondering what it thinks. Let me do a new chat on here. Okay. I think it's fair game to use AI at this point. It's like 2 hours. What? This is never updated. Wait, have it here though. The first thing we check, if the current number less than lowest value, then lowest value is going to be that number. What am I missing? Did I misspell something? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I didn't tell it that it was outputting 0, but it caught the same issue. I was hoping that me pointing out this weird condition, maybe there being a for loop, an infinite loop, might be connected in some way to why it was printing 0. It seems to be like it's a different reason why it's printing 0. Wait, what? There's an issue? to compare it to what we have. Are you saying this is fine? Wait, no, this is not fine. Just wants to keep that part. Okay. Now it breaks the other one. Okay, there's some syntax issues here. Wait, should we compare them? Let's do some comparisons. Wait, let me fix this. There's something going on here. After I removed this, it went crazy. Okay, so this one has to go. This one has to go. Format that. Am I missing something? What's going on with this? What does this mean then? Okay. I like how it highlights that one red when it's missing a bracket. Then you have an extra bracket and somehow it's like doesn't know where its pairs at. Oh man. This one should be for the method itself. This is property closed, property closed. Okay, that's fine. This one, okay. This makes sense. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, now let's just compare it to the code. I'm looking at the wrong thing here. There's... Oh, wait. Put the wrong thing right there. Okay, this one, it just copied all of this top part. Should have added a helper method to get the lowest value. That's why this one was breaking, but it doesn't make sense why this one was breaking. Let's see. So it does the work twice of this one. Let's see. I don't see, does doing it after this other conditional statement matter? It shouldn't matter whether it's in the map or not. I think this is fine to keep up here. Just, okay, I think that's fine. Next thing, okay. This is okay. They didn't change any naming stuff. Wait, check one final time. I think it's this. This is the magic here. Oh, I think also mine is broken because I took off the return. Right? There's no return on that one. Yes, it should be. Okay, broke with other stuff. Wait a minute. It says it should be 4. So 8 is wrong. Okay, this is 3. Wait, no. This is not sorted. What's going on with this? Oh, because negatives have to decrease. Sorry. Wait, no, negatives increase too. What's going on? Also, that damn website did not sort it. Why would it sort? Why would it sort it like? That doesn't make sense. Is there a different way to sort it? Dude, I'm so lazy. I'm just gonna sort it myself. What's going on? So -1. Actually, it should be -4, -2, -3, -2, -1. Then we can do 1. Wait, let's look at the... Where did they go? Okay, so it should be 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 1, 2. Why is it printing 8? That doesn't make sense. This one's missing 0 right here. So this is 4. Then it breaks. That's 4. But we get 8. Why do we get 8? It's supposed to break when it 5 is not on here. Wait, I have an idea. I should print them out. I should print out the map. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's printing 8. Hello. Too bad the debugger doesn't work. I didn't set a breakpoint. Oh wait, I should print. Does it have all the numbers? I think it does. We have 9, 8, 7. There's no 5, 4, 3. Wait, where's the 2? 2, 1. Then you have -1 here, -2, -3, and -4. Okay, that seems fine. So then we should try to debug. I'm trying to figure out where to put the breakpoint. So we could comment this out. And we can put the breakpoint. I guess here. Okay, -3 is in the map, so we should be fine. Array size should increment by 1. Oh, wait, I'm not even showing my screen. There you go. So array size should increment to running count. Okay, I should change to 4. Current is 0. Okay, 0 is not in the map. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out why it counts to 8. That's what I don't understand. Oh, wait, I think I know why it counts to 8. So if running count is greater than max, okay, I know I can't say it. Stop this. Running count turns to 0 whether it's greater than max or not. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it here. Yeah, that was a big issue. And now let's try. Why is it still 8? Did it not save what I just wrote? Oh, it's right there. Okay, let's run this one more time. I'm gonna go until current becomes 0. Okay, 0 is not in the map. So we increment current by 1. Running count is 4, which is greater than 0. So max, it's greater than max count. So max count should update. Let's see. This is true. Max count becomes 4. Then we make running count equal to 0. Okay. So current's now 1, so this should be true. Running count should now be 1. How do we get 8? Okay, let's keep going. This should also get to 5. So when current becomes 5, so after this one, it should jump to else. Current gets incremented to 6, which is in the map. That's fine. Okay, this is interesting. So at this point, running count is equal to max count. I was going to skip that. I'm going to make running count equal 0. Okay. Running count starts over. Okay, so at this point, I think my computer's gonna die. Okay. Let's see if I can connect it before it dies. Okay, should be better now. My computer was at 8%. Now it's charging though. Okay, so array size and num size are equal. So this while statement is done. So that's correct. Running count is 4. It's not greater than the return max count, which is 4. What am I missing? It's 4. Now keep going. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Wait, so okay, it works. We just walk through it. We've never seen it equal 8. Okay, now it's fine. All right. This should work now. Wait a minute. Here. I think the only issue was this, actually. Nice. Okay, so it's not. Worst case, n squared plus r is crazy. Okay, and I was thinking this was super optimal. I guess it's not. Okay, I guess we could compare it to the optimal solution. Okay, it only took 3 hours to solve this. Cool. Okay, we could go more in depth into the optimal solution another time, but I think for today we solved it. Only took 3 hours. World record. But yeah, we'll try to be back on tomorrow. I think I won't worry too much about speed right now. I'm just trying to get the structures in my head, and I'm also trying to like solve them myself. I think some people online recommend 20 minutes before you look at the solution. I think that's fine. If you don't have much time to like spend 3 hours on coming up with a solution yourself, it makes a lot of sense. Look up the solution, try to understand that specifically so that you can have that memorized in your head for interviews. I have a little bit more time, fortunately, but once summer starts coming to an end, I'm going to focus more on trying to finish them with a timer. For now, I just kind of want to solve them myself, even if it takes forever. But at some point I will be like checking my time to make sure I'm not wasting too much time. I think that would allow me to like practice recall and some other stuff. I've done this before where I've spent some amount of time, like over an hour, trying to solve a problem, and I wouldn't say it's better. Like, I still have a little bit of trouble remembering some of the solutions, even though I gave myself more time. I don't know if I would have just looked at the solution and tried to understand it, if I would have remembered it better now. I can't really say, but I have some time to spare, so I'm going to continue doing it like this, maybe for like till the end of May. Then I'll change the way I approach the problems to take a more aggressive look at the time and trying to stay within like a time constraint. I've done some like online assessments where they have like 6 questions, and at this rate I'd be doing that thing for hours. So I do think it's important to try to finish it on time. I just think right now I have some time to spare, so it wouldn't hurt to try to find my own solutions to some of these problems. But yeah, okay, that's it for today though.